Hi, and welcome to the first episode, the first real sit down, cover things we want to cover episode of the Daily Creak. Wisdom with a side of ibuprofen. Now, I think I made clear in my introductory video that this wisdom is not coming from this brain right here. Maybe a little bit of it, but not most of it. Most of it's going to come from experts, websites that experts have contributed to. We're going to talk about all kinds of things related to retirement. We're going to talk about things that you should think about before you retire. If you're a Gen Xer, let's say you're 55 years old and you're worried about retirement. First of all, you should have some kind of savings or retirement plan or pension or something lined up. Because I'll tell you, if you don't, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. I speak from experience. But we're going to cover things that you should prepare for retirement, things that you can be doing in retirement. We hope to inspire you to have a better retirement. We want to inspire you to do things that maybe you never even thought about doing before. A whole list of things that are related to the later stages of life. And frankly, that should be the best part of your life because, you should be able to do everything that you've ever wanted to do at that stage of life. And even if you're not able to do it for whatever reason, maybe you're physically unable to do, let's say, go hiking 10 miles a couple of times a week, like I used to do, or you can't afford to do certain things that you've always wanted to do. There are ways around those things. There are ways to get involved and ways to stay active and ways to stay alert and participate in society like you always wanted to in the past. Maybe you didn't have time. Maybe you raised a bunch of kids and, you worked a full-time job and you raised a bunch of kids, and you worked a full-time job, raised a bunch of kids, and then you volunteered at the food bank or at church or whatever, and you just didn't have time to do the things that you wanted to do. Well, now if you're retired, maybe you have that time, and maybe we can inspire you to do those things. But first, let me just ask you to subscribe to this channel if you feel like this can be valuable information for you. I'm not just going to sit here and talk at you and tell you what I think or show you things that I think you should know. I would like to have the audience participate. I would like you to get in touch with me, and you can be on my channel, and you can tell others what inspires you or what you're doing now that makes your retirement life just the best possible. I want you to participate, so get a hold of me. This email address that's right down here on the screen is what you need to write to, or you can leave a comment, but I prefer you email and say, hey, my name's Jay, by the way. Say, hey, Jay, let's get together and collaborate. Let's work together on an episode and see what we can do. Okay, enough of that. Subscribe, like the video, thumbs up, right down there at the bottom of the screen, and we will proceed. Now, what I'd like to cover today is, since it's the first episode, these are things that we're going to touch on probably at some point in the future. But I would like to touch on 25 things that you can do in retirement. And this has come, if you look on the screen here, you can see that this came from a company in the UK called Unbiased. And they have a bunch of suggestions here of things that you can do in retirement. Ready to turn your retirement into a thrilling new chapter? Yeah, why not? It can be a thrilling new chapter, especially if you end up doing something that you've always dreamed about doing but never were able to. So let's look at this list. And number one on the list, uh, this might not be something that you're looking forward to doing in retirement, but hey, maybe it is necessary. Maybe you've wanted to do it and you just never really got organized enough to do it. But number one is you can declutter your house. You can go through your cupboards, your wardrobes, and your desks and everything, and you can clean it out. You can get in the attic if you have an attic, get all those things out of there that you've been meaning to do for years. You can have a yard sale or garage sale. You can make donations to worthy causes, and you'll have or you can give your stuff away to your family, to people who in your family who can use that extra set of dishes that you have, or something like that. And I'm sure this is things that you have already thought of if you are retired, and perhaps you've already done this, and good on you if you have. Number two, explore your local area. I live in an area where there's lots to do. It's a beautiful area. There's lots of scenery. There's lots of outdoor activities, especially. There's lots of great, entertainment, restaurants, theater, sports, all kinds of different things. There's no shortage of things to do around here. And probably where you live, there's no shortage of things to do. You don't have to go on an international trip or a 3-week cruise to satisfy your itch for getting out and exploring, right? If you've been working full time, you may not have had time to explore beyond, your backyard because you've had yard work to do. You can relate to this stuff. There's almost certainly some place that you can go in your local area that will wow you. And, you can, it's one of those things where you've always wished that you could go, but you never had time. When you're driving around town, keep your eyes open. Don't just focus on the road in front of you, although you should focus on the road in front of you. Just look around a little bit and say, hey, look at that such and such a restaurant over there. It's new. Why don't we go there for dinner? Number three, you can become a tour guide. You can, if you're already familiar with your local area, you can be a tour guide. There are a lot of, if you're into history, you can, no matter where you are in the U.S. or if you're in Canada or you're someplace else in the world, there's history everywhere. There's historical things everywhere that you can talk about with people that are interested in that kind of thing. If you love nature and wildlife, there are all kinds of organizations around that you can get involved with that welcome volunteers. Animal shelters. There are wildlife sanctuaries that rescue injured wildlife and rehab them, and you can go and volunteer at those kind of places. Look up something in your local area. Number 5 here, you can research your family tree. This is a big one that keep a lot of retired people busy. I'm very fortunate that there were people in my family that on both my parents' side that took an interest in researching the family trees. And so now I have a pretty good record going back quite a ways of how my family came to this country and got together and who's who and where and all that kind of thing. And it's really fascinating to me anyway. And I'm sure some of you are interested in that kind of thing too. If you don't have the benefit of somebody having done it already, this might be something you could get into. It's very fascinating. Number 6, you can dress the part. Now let's see, what does this mean? Oh, if you're captivated by days gone by, or you just love an excuse to dress up, join a local drama society or a historical reenactment group. Now here, I'm in the western part of the United States, and there is not, to my knowledge anyway, There's not a lot of historical reenactments going on around here. But I know that in the East and the Southeast, where there were Civil War battles, there's a lot of that kind of thing going on in the United States. And even internationally, as it says here, there are a lot of things going on that reenact some of the historical events that took place in Europe. So, you might take a little research. You can always Google something. If you don't know what to do, Google it. That's the way to do anything nowadays. You can also get on and ask an AI agent to help you. They're kind of like a souped up Google. Number 7, you can get musical. You can learn how to play an instrument if you don't currently know how to play one. If you always thought, gee, I wish I could play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, now's the time to start. You may not make it to the Jimi Hendrix level, but it's a good time to start. Learn how to play the piano. You might have somebody in your family who knows how to play the piano that can teach you a little bit about it. I have a mother-in-law who plays great piano, and if I was interested in learning how to play the piano, I could maybe ask her to teach me a little bit because she used to teach piano lessons. So don't let the people in your family, don't forget about them because they could be a good resource. Number 8, you could learn to dance. Oh, I don't know about that one. If you have 2 left feet, you might want to just skip to number 9. Enjoy some me time, number 9. If you like to just relax and spend the day quietly on your own, like some people I know, they just like being by themselves and just doing their own thing. Maybe they're working on a hobby. Maybe they're like my wife likes to make baby blankets. And sometimes if there's a baby that she knows that's coming, she will get inspired to make a baby blanket for somebody. And that keeps her busy. So that's kind of a me time thing. And that keeps her happy, at least for as long as it takes to make that. So those are some things you could do. You could get out and about. Okay, out and about. That might involve a hobby, but it also might involve stuff like bird watching, hiking, hunting for fossils. You could buy and sell garage sale items, not just antiques, but you could go to garage sales Friday and Saturday, and then the whole next week, you could put those items up on Facebook Marketplace and sell them and make a little money. Why not? Number 11, stay fit and flexible. I should take this advice. I used to hike a lot, but I don't so much anymore because, I'll tell you a little story. I decided that I needed to supplement my retirement income with some other income, obviously. So I decided to start driving rideshare. It's Lyft and Uber kind of thing. And so I've been doing rideshare on and off for about 10 years. It's pretty good, but it takes a toll on a person by just sitting in the car. And I don't even do it full time. I only do it like 4 or 5 hours, 3 days a week, 3 or 4 days a week. And it takes a toll on the body just even sitting for that long. And at this age, it's important to grease the joints, so to speak, to keep things moving. And I need to take this advice and stay fit and flexible. So if you're in kind of the same boat, talk to your doctor. Talk to, maybe they can get you into physical therapy and start loosening you up. But it doesn't even really take a lot of physical activity. You could do something like play darts, okay, or go bowling. I understand that Tai Chi is a pretty popular item for folks my age. So you might want to check out and see if there's something like that in your area. Or at least, take a first step. Again, use the Google machine to say, what are some fun things for retirees to do in my area? That's all it takes. And it'll come back with a list upon a list of things. That's all you got to do. And then you can pick. And if you don't pick from their list, Maybe it'll inspire you to think of something else. Okay, number 12, help out. Volunteer somewhere. Food banks, there's food banks everywhere. You know, the area we live in is fairly, I would say, not our neighborhood particularly, but there's a high cost of living here, and it's fairly affluent area. But yet, there are food banks everywhere. There's probably 5 food banks within 5 miles of where we live. And they can all use help. So, food banks, you could work at, like I said earlier, an animal shelter or a sanctuary. You could work at a thrift shop. There are some thrift shops that are actually really for-profit businesses. You know, you wouldn't necessarily volunteer there, but you could get a job there if you wanted. So at least it would keep you busy. So next here is you could become an expert at absolutely anything. And that's very true. You know, if you have a little knowledge about a lot of things, you could be an expert. Whether it's learning a new language, like it says here, how to bake, a flawless souffle, performing mind-boggling magic tricks. Now there's something you could do. Learn how to do magic. Learn some card tricks. You could entertain your grandkids by just learning some magic tricks. Maybe some of you do that. And you know what? If you do, if you're a retired person and you're into this kind of thing and you just do fun stuff to entertain your grandkids, I want to hear from you. Put it in the comments or email me, thedailycreak@gmail.com. And I want to talk to you, and I want to put you on my channel. Okay? Number 14, get an allotment and grow your own. Oh, grow your own food. I guess this is a British website, so I was confused by the terminology here. Get an allotment. But I guess that means get a piece of ground and grow your own food. You know, you can get a community garden. There's a lot of communities. If you live in an apartment, or let's say a senior apartment kind of thing, or you know, even if you're in your house and you just don't have a big yard, or there's no sun or whatever, you can get, you know, a community garden. I mean, there's some churches that have community gardens. There are clubs and that kind of thing that have community gardens. So again, Google machine. That's your best friend. Upcycle furniture. You can start a repair shop. You could refinish furniture. You could go to those yard sales and you can buy that really ratty looking torn up set of dining room chairs over there that need the seats repaired and everything else, and you can work on that stuff. You don't have to open a formal shop even. You could probably do it in your garage if you have a garage. That kind of goes along with number 16 here, starting a small business. This was before I retired, and it was some years ago. Probably a little over, 10, 15 years ago, something like that. I was in a position that I wanted to start my own business, and the business I started was office furniture repair. And I got hooked up with a gentleman in another state who supplied the parts, and I supplied the labor. I started my own business here, and I would fix office chairs, mainly. I would fix office chairs where they wouldn't go up and down anymore. And really, it was just a matter of replacing the pneumatic cylinder that made them go up and down. And I did that for a while, and it was a fun business. So, I mean, that's just an example. You could drive Lyft or Uber. You could deliver DoorDash. Who says you have to be 35 years old and in terrific shape to deliver stuff? You don't have to be. You can be an old man like me, or an old woman, whatever the case may be. Those opportunities are out there. There's no reason for you to sit around and watch ESPN or, what is that, Young and the Restless all day. Number 17, find a part-time job. Okay, there I go. right there, part-time job. Kind of got ahead. But I won't cover that too much because I just pretty much did. Freelance opportunities, though. Let's say you're an old... your career was teaching English or journalism or something like that to high school students, and you're pretty good at writing. Well, start a blog. Start a blog. Start a YouTube channel. Anybody can do it. And believe me, everybody has done it, just about. And you can do it too. Get to grips with financial matters. This is a whole big category that I don't feel very knowledgeable enough to talk about, but it's very important, and we may cover this at some point in the near future. Okay, number 19, take up home brewing. Let's see, what would you brew? Maybe some of you do that already. I tried that once. It was okay. You could become a pub regular. You could become the Cliff Clavin of your neighborhood. And if you know, you know. Number 21, look at life through a lens. Take up photography. I have dabbled a little bit in that, and it's very satisfying, especially when you have the right kind of weather, the right kind of time of the year, and all that kind of stuff. And you don't need fancy camera equipment because everything's digital now anyway. If you like photography and you like, let's say you like taking pictures of landscape like I do, that is so easy. As long as you can frame a picture, you probably already know how to do that. But if you don't, use the Google machine. Okay, number 22, get on your bike. Take a bike ride. I find it very hard to keep a bike around where I live because it usually gets stolen. Keep a bike and keep it locked up. Put it in your garage or someplace. Number 23, become an online gamer. I don't really know how many retired people are online gamers. This, baby boomer generation, I would say probably mid to late baby boomers, are the ones that kind of, they started dabbling in gaming when, Pac-Man and Pong was big back in those days. But now you can play them online. Okay, number 24, grow your friendship group. This is something we could all do. Grow your friendship group. You probably had a lot of friends from where you used to work, and you spent a lot of time with them during the day, and occasionally you'd go out with them, maybe go out afterwards for refreshments, or whatever the case may be. But then you're retired, they retired, people move, and you lose touch. And that's just part of life. It happens. We've all been there. So you need to find new opportunities to make friends. And one of the best places, if you're so inclined, you could go to church. If you're a churchgoer, that's a good place to make friends. If you are a social person, you could join call them fraternal organizations. My parents used to be big into the American Legion back in the day. And they went dancing just about every week. So, and they knew a lot of people. So you can make friends in a lot of different ways, but a lot of the things that we covered in this list are things that you can get involved in that will allow you to make friends. And probably some of the best friends that you'll ever have. Okay, and number 25 here, stay social. Whether it's catching up with your friends on Facebook or, Instagram or wherever the case may be. I think people our age are more inclined to use Facebook. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Instagram and TikTok. TikTok's not really a baby boomer thing. Anyway, stay social. Stay in touch, with your family. Texting is a big thing. And if you're not into texting, boy, you better get into texting. Practice it. That covers 25 things that you can do in retirement. And I hope that some of these things have inspired you. And I also hope that if you like this kind of content and me just sitting here rambling, if you made it this far, Boy, I really appreciate it because most people don't. In videos, they don't watch the whole thing. And I really appreciate that you watch the whole thing. So I'd like you to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.